is awesome. Week number 8 of this show. Although it isn't really the 8th show we've done this year. We only started doing this weekly football, podcast on the Speaker Podcast, of course, about a month ago. And I love that we're doing it. I love that we have the, consistency now of having, Mike and Kyle and Zach on the show. But anyway, of course, on Twitter, E57, there's Speaker Podcast. You can find all podcast catchers. This week for me was actually not a very engaged football week. I, of course, locked in first 1 to 4, red zone. But all of the games that had double-digit spreads this weekend, for example, were all backed into the 4 o'clock spot. And all those games, for the most part, went the way of blowouts. Outside the Rams and the Lions game that was actually closer than it should have been. Although I never really doubted for a second that the Rams would lose that game with Detroit. But it was the first week this year that I've had a kind of the first 7 weeks, or 6 weeks rather, I've been heavily engaged in the season, game to game no matter what. Sunday night football, 4 o'clock spot, 1 o'clock spot, Monday night football, Thursday night. This is the first week where I was like kind of checked out a little bit. Although I will say I was a little more, I paid more attention to the Sunday game this week because I said on the show last week, I thought that Colts-Niners game was a sneaky lose-leaves town game, despite the fact that it was a inter-conference game. Because look at the wild cards, look at the playoff picture in the AFC and the NFC. Winner this game gets a boost, especially in the trek to making the playoffs this year. And the Colts won that game, of course. And the Colts actually, look where they're at now. It was thought of a couple weeks ago that maybe the only way they can the playoffs is win the division. But as I said last week, a lot of teams that were kind of flying high or doing very well in the first quarter of the season are starting to fall down to earth a little bit now. So something to look at. The Colts are very dangerous. The schedule now lightening up a little bit. So we'll see. They're one of the teams that I would look forward to watching the next few months of football as we get towards the season. The other thing I want to discuss real quick is Deshaun Watson, as these trade rumors now for him has heated up. Texans quarterback has not played a snap this year because there's a lot of legal issues still with him. He has not been charged with anything yet criminally, just for the record. I mean, people forget that. He hasn't been charged criminally yet. There's been lawsuits, but nothing, no settlements yet, nothing of that nature. But the Texans have benched him so far through 7 weeks. He is not on the commissioner's exempt list either, so that adds more speculation to what's going on. But there's been reports now that the Miami Dolphins, as well as the Carolina Panthers, are heavily engaged in talks to trade for the quarterback. Now, a lot of people, fan bases of those teams, I'm sure, are very much speculative, or, there's a lot of opinions about whether or not they should do this. Here's my thing. I'm running a business here at the end of the day. And I know that there's the risk factor of, well, if you trade a guy that might be a sexual deviant, that is going to definitely hurt the image of your franchise. The problem is we don't know what's going on, number one. It's been now, 8 months since the first allegations dropped? Back in March, was it March these things dropped? Back in February, March? After he put out his trade request. And we've heard nothing. We've heard that there's 22 accusers, and I'm not saying that these accusations aren't true or not, but at the same time, we just don't know what's going on. There's been no criminal charges filed whatsoever. And to me, if I'm Miami Dolphins or Carolina Panthers, you obviously have enough information to know that something is okay, because these teams are not going to engage in trade talks for a guy that might miss a year of football at the very least, or might be going to jail. So the fact that they're actually engaging in these trade talks means that they feel good about where this story is going in terms of what's going on here. I'm assuming that the ownership of these groups, the ownerships, Dave Tepper and Stephen Ross, feel like that Deshaun Watson might be available sooner rather than later. And I have no problem with that. Honestly, people hate me saying this though. I have no problem with that. I think you have a guy who's 26 years old, 27 years old, at the very peak of his powers, who, when healthy, and obviously when he's playing, he's a top 5, 7 quarterback in the league. You have to see what's out there. You have to see what's going on. And if you feel like, and these guys have access. Come on, these guys have access to the NFL. The NFL's obviously monitoring the situation. There's no way in hell that Steve Ross and David Tepper would be even poaching this idea of getting Watson. They didn't feel like this situation is starting to clear up a little bit now. Let's be real about that. So I think I have no problem with them doing this. Now, as for me, who roots for the Dolphins, my second team after the Giants, I would like to see this through. I want to see the Tua thing through, but it's clear that it just feels like Tua is not long for Miami, and I can't blame them. Even though I want to see the Tua thing through, I can't blame them. And furthermore, again, you have a guy who's a legit top 5, 7 quarterback in the league at the peak of his powers, and you still get another 10 years out of him probably, assuming that no charges here or nothing of that nature. You should go after him. So I have a problem with Carolina and Miami getting a feeler what's going on, and I'm starting to believe that a trade will come down sooner than you think. So that's just my position on the Deshaun Watson thing. I have the problem with Dolphins doing this as someone who also would like to see this thing through with Tua, because I think Tua's played pretty well in the last couple of weeks, despite 2 losses to the Dolphins. So. Also this week I went 2-3 for the second week in a row, so 2 losing weeks now in my picks, my best bets. Yeah, so I got a little depressing now. So, anyway, get the show started. We're gonna have on Mike with our power rankings, then Kyle, the student game report, and then we end the show as always with the man, the degenerate himself, Zach, the degenerate, as we go through our week 8 picks of the week against the spread. So, good luck. Here we go. All right, week 8, and for Power 10, bottom 5, of course, with the squid, Mike Bernier. Mikey, what's up?
Oh, hey, buddy.
I don't think you said last week as we closed out our segment that you didn't think there'd be a lot of movement because of the amount of buys we had last week. 6 teams on buys last week. You didn't expect that long.
I had a couple teams move.
Yeah, a couple teams move. I think my top thing is pretty much where it should be, but I think there was some movement because a lot of teams let down. Some teams are starting to get hot. It's starting to get interesting, though. This has been a fun year, man. I mean, again, a lot of the unexpected so far, and starting to sustain, and, it's fun times.
I don't think I had anybody move out of my top 10 or into my top 10, but I had some movement in the 10.
I had a little bit of that, too. I definitely had a team move out of my top 10 and a team or two move in my 10 as well. I hope I didn't fuck up.
The one team that I know moved out of your top 10 should have been out weeks ago when fucking Patrick Mahomes' dumbass brother was dancing on TikTok. But, what the fuck do I know?
Oh, God. All right. So let's get to our top 10 first as we do it 10-1. Mikey, go first. What you got?
All right. So this team fell 1 spot, but that was only because they were inactive. And the team that jumped ahead of them, I think, had a pretty damn good week. So at number 10, I have Justin Herbert and the Los Angeles Chargers.
Guess what? So do I. Bye week went down only because they didn't play, and again that loss against Baltimore still stinging like a week and a half. Yeah, still a week and a half later, still stinging. So but again, this is power rankings. It's not really it's not like you're playing for the playoff here, like in college football. So not a big deal. So 10's not bad spot to be. All right,
exactly.
We'll be all right. Number 9, who you got?
This team was high on my rankings to start the year and then crashed, and now they're back on the way up. Give me the Derrick Henry-led Tennessee Titans.
Guess what? Me too!
Yeah!
Oh, wow. So we're getting in sync here a little bit. It's cool. I needed to see them beat 2 quality teams to shake off that Jets loss. And they did that.
Right.
You beat Buffalo. Granted, it almost lost that game, but then you beat down a Chiefs team that we thought starting to get hot again, but apparently not. So, yeah, Titans deserve to be top 10 now. They're starting to find a way, and they may have the MVP on their team as well too. So, just saying, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So, all right, number 8.
This team looked really bad on Sunday, and it may be the fact that Lamar Jackson couldn't run around like a N64 game. and actually had to try to beat a team with his arm. I'll take the Baltimore Ravens at 8.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's weird because like this is kind of the way their season's gone for the most part. Like for every big win they get a weird loss or they get a weird performance. The Detroit performance, of course, they probably lost that game too. But am I concerned long term for the team? Yes, they're a playoff team. They're a playoff team. But whether or not this team can be a Super Bowl contender, that's still on the fence for me right now, to be honest with you. Because of a lot of the injuries, of course, number one, and of course, they're a little bit more wonkier than I like them to be. They're not as consistent.
Well, that and the fact that every running back they have is on injury reserve.
Yeah, exactly. That too. So, all right. Number 7.
I have the team that actually beat the brakes off of those Baltimore Ravens, taking my boys to Cincinnati Bengals at 7.
Me too. I swear to God, it's sitting right here.
Dakota thinks it's hilarious.
Yeah, and guess what? If they beat Green Bay, they're number 6 probably on this list or higher. You know what I mean? So, dude, I love this Bengals team. This team is fun. This team is, and it was a statement win, not just for this year, but for the long term. This is a long-term 5-year looking like because they're literally a patchwork O-line away from being a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion. If this can sustain itself.
Oh, absolutely. That offensive line is what's going to end up being the Achilles heel of this team unless they fix it.
Right. All right, number 6. You got.
This team went up even though they were inactive, and I think it's because of Baltimore's free fall out of my top 5. Give me Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Okay, this is where we'll part ways, obviously. Number 6, I have the Green Bay Packers. Bills didn't play, so whatever. The Packers wasn't a fantastic win against Washington, but they won the game. They covered the spread. They're like kind of like Baltimore for me in the NFC in a sense where like, you know, they're a great team. They're probably a Super Bowl contender, but they don't feel like one in the same way like the Bucks are or the Rams are or even the Cardinals. They're kind of like under the radar, which I guess is not necessarily a bad thing either because considering the fact they've been the top tier team in that conference at least through the regular season for the last like 8, 9, 10 years. So maybe it's better come from behind a little bit. I guess I don't know. So all right, anyway, number 5.
I have Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers at 5.
So we switched spots here. I had the Buffalo Bills number 5. I said Bills on the bye. Packers. I mean, how do you feel about the Packers? Where are you on the Packers? Do you feel like this is it's kind of one of those 6-1 though? The record's a record. I mean,
okay, so let's look back at that. They had a really bad loss to start the year. They had a game they should have lost to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
I mean, Mason Crosby did miss 4 field goals.
Yes.
But Evan McPherson also missed 2, including one as time expired.
The San Fran game.
Yep.
Should have lost the game too, probably.
They're winning games very ugly, which is very scary. Because if they can win games ugly now, wait till they actually fucking start winning games explosively.
Yeah, and that's the scary part. Scary part.
And the other scary part is they play on a short week now against Arizona, potentially with no Devontae Adams.
Yes, correct. Which that game was looking forward to watching, but now with Arizona playing, that could be probably a loss. I don't know. We'll see.
That takes a blow.
Yeah, definitely. All right, number 4.
How about the Cowboys?
We're back to it. Me too. Dallas Cowboys. Bye week.
Yep.
Like I said, they didn't do anything. They didn't, whatever. Dak's MVP candidate as well too. So, all right, number 3.
The Matt Stafford revenge tour took the sword of Damocles through the Detroit Lions. I will take the best wide receiver in the National Football League, Cooper Kupp, and the LA Rams.
This is where we part ways again. So the Rams, I mean, they're doing their job. I mean, they didn't cover the spread though, but it is what it is. Detroit's frisky. 3 for me is the Buccaneers, and again, it could be 2B. Honestly, the only reason I have the Rams ahead of them is probably because I said they head to head. But I'll tell you right now, who's playing better football right now through the last couple of weeks is definitely the Buccaneers.
And that's why I have them at number 2. I have Tom Brady and his 600-plus touchdowns and, all that fun stuff. Yeah, I'll take Tommy Terrific and the Bucs at 2.
What would you have done if you had done that football?
Well, let's see. Like I said to someone, if you walk out of that stadium, it's worthless. Because it has to be verified. If you walk out of the stadium, they'll never give you anything for it. So
right.
As much as everyone goes, we'll take it out of the stadium and sell it. Buddy, it ain't been verified that was the actual ball. It hasn't been authenticated, nothing like that. So, you lost your mind. I personally probably would have held out for an extra year of season tickets. I probably would have wanted like a meeting with Brady.
Yeah.
So a couple other things. Nothing like. Here's the thing. No team's gonna walk like, oh hey, here's $200,000. Like here's $200,000. Like he got a Bitcoin which is worth $65,000 at the time. 2 autographed Tom Brady jerseys, which you could probably sell for $500 pop. Another football signed by Brady, which you could probably sell for $500. Mike Evans game worn cleats and a signed jersey, which you could probably sell for $1,000 a pair. And he got season tickets for the rest of this season and all of next year.
Seems pretty good. And you can sell those tickets for a lot of money too.
And he got $1,000 to spend at the team store.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't get $500,000 like people were saying that he was going to get. But if that ball wasn't authenticated, how many people are just going to be like, here's $500,000? That's
a great point. That's a great point you made there. So, 2 for me. I said the Rams. 2 works for obviously the Rams for me. Like I said, Detroit game was kind of. I mean, I never thought they would lose that game. It was a little closer than expected, but whatever. Number 1, of course, should be really easy here. What do you got?
I have the Arizona Cardinals.
I guess the question is not when they're going to lose the first game. I got them 1 as well too.
They get past Green Bay this week. It's a pretty open run for them, I think, until I was looking at their schedule the other day. I thought it was pretty open. Hold on.
I got it. I got it, buddy. Don't worry about it. I got it right here. So they got Packers this week. Then they got the Niners, who are falling apart. The Panthers, who are falling apart. The Seahawks, who are falling apart. The Bears, who suck. The Rams are the next tough team who they already beaten on the road. Detroit, who hasn't won a fucking game yet. The Colts are a tough team. That's gonna be a tough one, but they probably should win that one. Then you got Dallas and Seattle. Dude, I see only legit 2 losses left in the year. Legitimately 2 losses, maybe 3.
If they sneak by Green Bay, their next toughest game is Week 14 against the Rams.
Right.
And then of course the Week 17 matchup against Dallas on the road.
Right. Which
they should steamroll San Francisco. They should steamroll Carolina. They should beat the brakes off of Geno Smith. Bye week. Justin Fields is god awful. The Rams, obviously, the Monday night game, which that's probably going to be the game of the year.
Right.
Jared Goff and the Lions are in a complete rebuild. Christmas Day could be interesting against Indianapolis, depending on which team comes out. If Jonathan Taylor can run the ball and keep them in that game for a long time, then I think they have a shot. If not, it's going to be bad.
Indy's figuring things out, by the way, for the record. I've just not figured things out. So, and wins. All right. So, of course, the sad 5 on the bottom 5. 28-32. Mike, you got?
28, I have the Trevor Lawrence-led Jacksonville Jaguars.
The trend continues. I got him 28 as well, too. 29.
God, this team is awful, and they just traded for Joe Flacco. Give me the Jets.
Why did they do that? I don't see the. Why are you giving out draft picks for Joe Flacco?
I mean, because the equivalent of a 6th-round draft pick is like where they should have drafted Zach Wilson.
Fair point. 29, the Dolphins. 30.
Houston Texans.
The New York Jets at 30. 31.
Dolphins.
Whew. Should win that game on Sunday, though.
They're finding ways to lose like the Dolphins usually lose. That's why they're number 31.
I hate wasted Tua games. I hate it.
Trust me. I'm aware.
31, the Lions. And 32?
I have the Detroit Lions at 32.
Okay. At some point, I see a point. At some point, you'll win a game. You got to win a game. 32 got the Texans, of course.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm in that motion where if the Lions win a game, they're probably like 26th.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I can see that.
They would vault up this list drastically.
I just think that win against Jacksonville in Week 1 is so forgotten. You know what I mean? It's just so like, oh wait, they win a game. I forget the Texans won a game. I forget that.
Yeah, that was before Tyrod Taylor got hurt.
Right, exactly. Although he's coming back next week, I believe.
That would probably be the best case scenario for Houston.
Yeah, but why would you want to win?
Because Davis Mills is god awful.
Yes, he is. General Mills.
Soon to be starting quarterback Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah, we'll see if that trade goes down or not. Anyway, follow Mike on Twitter at @CallMeBurn. Of course, as him and I on 2/3 of the Take 3 Wrestling podcast. We got a lot to talk about this week on wrestling. Can't wait to get to it. So.
Oh yeah, we got a good one lined up.
Yeah, I can't wait. I got a lot of questions for you about not just Charlotte Flair, but other things as well too. So.
Interesting.
Yes. So. All right, buddy. We'll talk soon.
All right, man. Sounds good.
All right, later. Still getting report. Week number 8 NFL season with the man Kyle effing Nash. What's up, buddy?
Some sort of energy there. Of course, it sounds more like you're trying to speak in Morse code. But whatever, man. What's going on
football's awesome. You know,
football is in fact awesome.
Even though this weekend was kind of like I
don't know that I can agree with that. Now I'll grant I only sampled the NFL this weekend, in the background because I was chilling with a bunch of children in Halloween costumes, but I was still paying attention and I was entertained. Yeah.
So like I've always said that the peak of my football Sundays are obviously 1 to 4.
That's the peak of everybody's.
Right. I'm saying I'm always like I used to be that guy 10 years ago where I was locked in from the minute 1 o'clock until like fucking the end of the Sunday night football game. And as I got older, I become more pick and choosy with what I watch because you have other priorities and whatnot. And if it's a 4 o'clock game, I want to watch badly. I'll watch it. But this weekend's schedule, man. I mean, look at the way these games played out, for example, and turned out by virtue of the Vegas spreads and then what happened in the aftermath. Like I was locked in from 1 to 4 to some degree. 4 o'clock, I made a decision. So you know what? I just don't want to watch anymore because these games were not that good.
Tapping out.
I tapped out. But surprisingly enough, I tapped back into the night game, the Colts and the Niners.
Yeah, God, what a disaster that was.
Yeah. But we'll get to that in a second.
I mean, perspective-wise, no disrespect to the Colts, obviously. I'm actually surprised Carson Wentz is still upright and playing.
And playing well, actually.
Yeah, yeah. No, and I had said in my AFC South review for the 3pointconversion.com, that the Colts weren't a bad team. They just weren't going to win the division.
Go to 101soundboards.com to access the sound.
Did you really just disagree on the fucking show, you piece of shit?
Gosh, don't you hate it when your host just doesn't even have their soundboard together?
No, it was ready to go, and then fucking that's the button. Oh, come on, hold on. You know what?
What else is ready to
go? Hit a 20-second delay with a ding.
Me, my voice talent.
There you go. 20-second delay.
Sure.
Boom. There we go.
All that for just a ding? Really?
I know. Seriously.
A little disappointed in you, Ernest Christian.
Ridiculous.
A little disappointed.
Ridiculous.
Anyways.
As you were saying.
No, but, it's not that the Colts are a bad football team. They just don't have weapons at every single spot, but they have them at good places, right? Now, granted, Quentin Nelson is hurt, but the offensive line is a completely different unit than what we're used to and, that got Andrew Luck killed. While their receiver core isn't necessarily stellar, do you need to be stellar in the air to get past the Niners defense? Not always,
I'm glad we started. I mean, I didn't plan on talking about the Colts, but I'm glad we did because didn't I tell you? I think I definitely said it with Zach last week on our picks, but did I tell you also? I might have said to you also too that either on this, it might have been a huddle up actually, not on this pod. But Big Jim, of course, a boy, Jim Neese will be there tonight as well too. That Niners Colts game was a sneaky important game for both teams based on the playoffs. If you remember,
I signed off on that.
Yeah, right. So you look at the AFC now, with the Colts winning, and winning fairly convincingly, things are happening in the AFC now where, okay, there was a thought of before 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago that maybe that the only way to get in the playoffs is to win the division. I think that's changed now. I think there's now opportunities here from they can get into the wild card now, as opposed to just winning the AFC South. Given the fact that the Titans have actually started to pull away a little bit now because of winning 2 big games against the Bills and the Chiefs.
Well, and that more. Listen, let's not. I mean, we're still in a place where people are declaring death and immortality still way too soon in the NFL season, right? Let's get straight on that. Yeah. Right quick, okay? Mm-hmm. I got Titans fans trying to tell me they still have a defense that's good. No, you don't. And there's some teams that are already, we're seeing the truth too as well, right? Like, for example, the Broncos are in free fall where, some people thought they were great. Carolina, who you and I were both suspect of, are now exposed like Janet Jackson. They got the Janet Jackson status in the halftime show there too, right?
Goodbye.
Exactly. Yeah. What's tough for the Colts is their season starting out was awful, right? 2 NFC West teams, and then, oh, by the way, your division rival Titans, right?
Yeah.
So that's a tough break. And then, you get the Dolphins for a rest. You got the Ravens, okay? And then now the schedule's starting to ease up. You would think the Niners were a loss, but they actually finally win a game that they shouldn't have. And one single game, but they've only won one game that they shouldn't have. They've lost or won every one you shouldn't have. Of course, I'm counting the Finns and Texans as games they should win, right?
Right, correct.
And so here we have this week against coming up, it's the Titans. That could go either way. After that, Jets, Jags. Okay, Bills is tough. Bucks is tough. Texans, Pats. Okay, and I was going to say, for example, they haven't played the Cardinals. That's a very losable game as well.
This is the Colts. This is the Colts, right?
Sorry, what?
This is the Colts, by the way, right?
Right, because we were talking about the Colts.
I already found 3 wins right there on that schedule, maybe 4. Possibly 4.
And they wrap with the Jags at home if they need a big one toward the end. So, they're based on that win, their playoff, their chances of a worse, better, slightly improved as your theory prescribed. And I could also argue it hurt the Niners a lot more because as the Niners continue to struggle, they have a disgusting divisional schedule still left to play too.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you know what's funny? I don't want to launch our show today on talking about something else, but we'll put it for the back end of the show real quick because I'm glad you mentioned that.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Shanahan.
What about him?
Is he a little warm now, you think?
No. And there's been all sorts of people, a particular personality whom I kind of emulate my style among them, who are just panicking entirely too much with the 49ers for a minute. Okay, can we just chill the F out? Like, this is a team that's, 2 years, 3 years removed from a Super Bowl appearance, right? 2 years. 2 postseasons ago, the Niners were Super Bowl runners-up and were leading that game for 3.5 quarters.
And now they're now they're bottom ringer of the NFL. Like, not close to the bottom ringer of the NFL the last 2 years. Wow, that went quickly.
Well,
boy, that escalated quickly.
Bit of an overstatement, don't you think?
A little bit.
Can we stop for a minute and people want to drop sides? They're 1-10 at home. Yeah, okay, great. They also had 35 players on IR.
That's true. So
as if that didn't happen, guys. Come on. And people all griping Garoppolo this and Trey Lance that. Listen, folks, okay? Jimmy Garoppolo, the old plan was to play him out, and they got Trey Lance on purpose because they're doing what you're supposed to do with quarterbacks. Give them time to develop. Sure, some of them play right out of the gate. Most of them play right out of the gate nowadays. But the quarterbacks with the most success are guys that didn't start right out the gate. Need I remind you of Aaron Charlie Rodgers, right?
Exactly.
I don't mean to necessarily bring up Brady, but I can. I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback. He just happens to have an amazing roster in support minus the second.
Even though he's about to throw 55 touchdowns for the season. But I see a point though.
Think about that though. When Manning set the record, he had an amazing receiver core, but it wasn't as good as Brady's receiver core, who he passed in New England, right, with Randy Moss and company.
Right.
Now, I could argue that while Randy Moss is a better receiver than any of the ones currently on the Tampa Bay schedule, what I can also tell you is as a core, they are stronger than that group that had 18 wins and 1 giant loss for the Patriots there, right?
Yay.
Ernest Christian's worst day of his entire life.
No, you don't do that. Do not do that. Do not do that. Do not
what? Tell the truth? Listen,
No.
now they know you
Don't degrade the champion at any time.
Don't do that.
That didn't make any sense, by the way. If you're going to use a soundboard, at least do something worthwhile. Christ. Anyways, no. So, and part of it is I think, the 49ers snubbed Colin Cowherd at a party or something. Because suddenly he just decided to go all anti in one of the biggest knee-jerk reactions I've seen, calling the 49ers the worst division in the AFC West. Guys, I don't have to prove – I can point to other things of why the Niners are still among the best in the division. All I'm here to do is, in one sentence, disprove the Niners aren't the worst in the NFC West. Are you ready? Seattle. I win. Okay? What's the only reason Seattle's relevant? Here's a hint. We are seeing it happen before our eyes right now, okay? When Russell Carrington Wilson is not a factor, neither are the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll has been horrible at clock management. No one wants to talk about it, even though I've written about it at least twice.
It's so funny.
He's also responsible for the worst offensive Super Bowl history. Just ask Malcolm Butler.
I love you just mentioned Pete Carroll because he has now become exposed now.
He's been exposed. People just have refused to acknowledge it. It's like the reverse of Lamar Jackson's passing game here, okay? It's always been there. People are just too stupid to acknowledge it. Pete Carroll's always been overrated. People have just been too stupid to acknowledge it.
Right.
You know, I'm
with you.
Anyways.
I'm with you, man, on that one. And I think, like last night's game against the Saints, they had a one big touchdown to Metcalf, and after that, they just went completely inept. Rest of the night at home. You want to trade Russell Wilson now, guys? Sell down.
Well,
sell your ass
they
down.
were smart enough to pay him. I mean, it's not that they aren't self-aware. They're just pretty good at hiding the words from the public somehow. Don't ask me how. Oh, wait, that's right. Washington State, one of the first states to legalize weed. Moving on.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see what's on the list because I'm kind of going all over the place, but it's fine. Oh, okay, we got to do it. Is it DEFCON 1 time in Kansas City?
Oh, hell yes.
Okay.
Unbelievably so. And I know a good friend of ours, Big Jim, is it niece or nice? I always say
niece.
I never say it the same way.
No, it's really this guy. It's really is.
Trubisky or whatever.
Yeah, whatever his name is.
That's his name. Whatever his name is.
I'm glad you took the Joker laugh out of the way. But, no.
It's still there. It's still there.
Oh.
Trubisky or whatever the hell his name is, or
it's still there.
But with Big Jim, I know that, if you're interested in watching him, take a giant dump upon the Kansas City Chiefs for what will probably be a good 15 minutes on his show, tune in tonight on the Huddle Up podcast on the Facebook page there for
we'll be there.
Big Jim Sports there.
And Twitter. And YouTube.
And YouTube, right.
And Twitter.
Yeah. Also follow Big Jim Sports on Twitter if you want to see something hilarious and also see one of the most entitled fans in sports.
Oh, no doubt.
Oh, my.
This team will be up like 30 points. They'll be like, oh, my gosh, what is this crap? That was DPI. Oh!
Yeah. I hope Matt's on the show today, too, so we can just give him hell. That's all on their game.
Listen, the difference between the Chiefs and what happened this past weekend and everything that happened to this point, two things are true. A, they played strong teams. Titans fans, deal with it. You do not have a strong team. You needed two garbage-ass calls to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Shall we move on? Great, thank you. Now, if you struggle like that against the Titans, you got big-time problems. If you're throwing this many interceptions, Christ, call Eli Manning late in his career. It wasn't like this with him, okay? And we could throw the whole offense under the bus on this for committing turnovers, but I don't think that's proper because the defense has been that bad, right? Patrick LaVon Mahomes II has been at his worst. And I have no problem saying it or criticizing it as I have in the past couple of weeks and acknowledging it because he said so himself on the podium. It's okay to question the Chiefs at this point because in the past they've at least been bouncing back and showing signs of life.
Right.
Here, not so much.
So 3-4 record. If you ask me right now in a nutshell, do the Chiefs get in the playoffs this year? I'll still say yes, without context. But however, now I look at a schedule, and if you look at the remaining schedule without context, you think, oh, they should be able to, figure things. Well, they have a problem, should I say? They have an issue. This schedule going forward, the rest of the year, is not that easy. Now, with
their entire schedule, as it would turn out, is pretty damn tough.
Yeah.
And no one's acknowledging that.
Right. And now, again, if you use context, though, of course, this is also assuming that you believe some of these teams that they play left and under schedule will sustain teams that we thought not sure to sustain, not so forth, are doing that. So let's go through the schedule real quick. Okay. So obviously, the Giants next week, Monday Night Football. That's a win. That's got to be a win.
One would hope.
Okay. Then here's where the schedule gets really, really tough. Next 3 weeks, you got at home against Green Bay. on the road at Las Vegas against the Raiders, a rival, of course. And then the Dallas Cowboys at home. Just those 3 games. Okay? Then you got Denver, which is a divisional game. They should win that game. Again, divisional games are weird. Sometimes they're weirdo games. Then the Raiders again at home. The Chargers on the road, which already lost to them already once.
Which, by the way, side note, let's acknowledge something. Yeah. All the games you've mentioned, the only one that's easy so far, Broncos. The Raiders are outperforming anything you would have thought looking at the schedule in August. The Cowboys are way better than anything even Big Jim, the big homer himself, would have thought of about his Cowboys. I mean, the Giants still suck, which obviously you're excited about, Patriots fan. But
Stop it. Stop.
And like, though the Washington football team is outperforming what we would have thought, they beat them. Right. But like the Red Tails and the Eagles, whom they beat, both are outperforming what we would have thought, despite losing their starting quarterback. In the case of the Red Tails, which actually I mentioned all this. This really kind of calls to question the credibility of the Browns, but I digress.
Right. So I mentioned Chargers on the road, which they already lost them at home this year already.
Chargers are a good football team.
Yes, they are. Then the last 3 games, they play the Steelers at home, which, again, Steelers are a toughie, even though they're not the same team.
I don't agree. Like, that might be the other give me other than the Broncos and the Giants.
Right. Bengals on the road, which, let's see, are they still this team by week 16, week 17, week 17 actually here, technically. Cause
if their defense is still 31st, Joe Burrow's going to slice them. And
then they close the year against Denver. So, there's still, based on the schedule, if you believe, there are definitely at least 3 to 4 quote-unquote guarantee wins here. That puts you at 7 wins. You got to steal about 2 or 3 more from some good teams there to make the playoffs.
2 ain't going to do it. You need at least 3.
From the good teams. From the Raiders, Cowboys, Packers, from the Raiders, Chargers, right. Bracket.
And I don't know where you're going to get that from.
If we believe the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be this team the rest of the year, then yes, they're in trouble.
Because here's what I know is we're 7 or 8 weeks in, and we still have a horrible defense in Kansas City. Right?
Yeah. It's going to be a fascinating finish to the year for this team because we just mentioned this team while we were going through the schedule. My thing is this, though. I think the Cincinnati Bengals this past Sunday put the league on notice, not just for this year, but big picture. I've been one of the guys dating back to his senior at LSU with Joe Burrow saying that this kid was special, and not just because of how well he plays, but the calm and cool and collectedness of his aura. It's the way he plays playing football. It reminded me of Montana / Brady. It's calm, cool, collected, doesn't get rattled, that kind of thing. And it's funny because we mentioned this on the podcast a couple weeks ago about, and Herbert deserved Justin Herbert all the praise for the first quarter of the year, but all of a sudden, because of that, Joe Burrow became underrated out of nowhere. People start talking about him all of a sudden out of nowhere. And now you see the Bengals at 5-2, should be 6-1. Let's be real. You missed 2 fucking field goals against Green Bay to win. Okay. This team is fun to watch, man.
How about this kid just competing in a shootout with Aaron Charlie Rodgers?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That should tell you everything you need to know. Point blank, end of story. And when I met Burrow going into the Fiesta Bowl, preceding the best statistical offensive season by a college football team in the nation of all time. I was able to observe that this is just another dude. Like Joe Burrow talks to you like he's just another dude. And it's so perfect that he was coached by an everyman like Ed Ogeron. Listen, whether he has a job at the end of this season or not, I can get how those 2 guys jived. But to bring it back up to the NFL, it's very easy to see how Joe Burrow got overlooked, right? It's people are focused on Justin Herbert because no one expected an Oregon player to do well in the NFL. Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield take away from the headlines, both negative and positive in the AFC North. And then also Ben Roethlisberger, possibly collapsing before us. Ironically, just like Brett Favre did playing against the Steelers before his would-be retirement, and Joe Whipp came in shortly after that. Like, that's all been what's hiding Joe Burrow. There's so much news in his division at the quarterback position right now. It's very easy, especially for a guy who's known for just being calm, collected, down to earth, not being loud and flashy, et cetera, to get overlooked. And I'm not trying to say L-Jack isn't flashy. He's a little bit different in that his game is so flashy, and there's just this big fight about the state of the quarterback position that's out there. You know, now granted, you and I have both said that. Well, actually, you and I have said it before too, but I think it was said even better this past Tuesday on the Huddle Up podcast with Big Jim Neese. Bing! Tom Brady. If you've seen the picture of Tom Brady going into the combine, no quarterback even gets an invite looking like that anymore ever again. Period. End of story.
And that's what stands out really more than else. I mean, I know it's Burrow's. I mean, I get it. Oh, was the one pick? Yeah, but because he got hurt last year, close to halfway of the year, kind of got forgotten. But this Bengals team, I mean, I don't know. This is a big win. I mean, you beat Baltimore in Baltimore after they beat the Chargers the way they did, and just beat them down like a ugly stepchild. I mean, that's a statement. That's a hey, we are here to compete. Let's go.
Your initial statement was put the league on notice now and into the future. I think it's more the into the future part, because now what they are is a couple draft picks away at more essential positions, i.e. offensive line, perhaps some defensive line help, maybe, whatever, from being a true Super Bowl contender once again in a way we haven't seen since Carson Palmer was at the helm, those years ago. And, an unfortunate hit in a playoff game by Kimo van Oelhoffen, that tears his knee apart, et cetera, right? So, and what is that? That's at least 10 years ago now, right? One would think. At any rate, so the punchline to that is they put the league on notice for the future more than the present. Now, granted, that's still a damn difficult division. I mean, the Browns, say what we will about Baker Mayfield, Baker Mayfield, they're still good. They still have one of the better offensive lines in the league, which is still fascinating to me. Just so few years after Joe Thomas departing from that group in retirement. But the Browns are still a factor on the ground and on defense. They're still going to be a thing. I picked the Ravens to make it and win the Super Bowl. I picked L-Jack to be the MVP, et cetera, et cetera. Now, granted, they looked horrible this week, but they also beat the bejesus out of the Chargers the week before. Listen, this is the NFL. These things happen sometimes. All of the above to say, I tried to tell you about the Bengals 2 weeks ago when you and Big Jim were arguing about the Bears and the Chargers. But no, we couldn't have that conversation then.
You mean the Chiefs?
Do you hear me now?
You mean the Chiefs or the Chargers? Because that was the number 10 slot thingy.
Yeah, I said maybe the Bengals if you don't like the Chiefs there, but no one wanted to hear about that then.
I had to see more, man. Larger sample size, and I got it now. I got the sample size, which reflects.
I saw it already.
You did. You sure did. All right, last thing, NFL thing here before we get to a college football talk real quick. I want you, and this is, I'm gonna give credit to our good friend Matt Whitener, who posts this on his Facebook, and I actually want to use this as a topic here on this show. I want you to rank these three AFC teams in order right now. Okay, the Bengals we just mentioned, the Chargers, and the Titans.
Titans are at the bottom, point blank.
Okay.
At this point. Here's the thing. Of those three teams, I can make the argument that the Bengals belong at the top. But of the three teams, also have the least chance of making the playoffs.
Because the division they play, well, sort of, but both of the top divisions right now. But although, we'll see.
But I would put the Chargers number one of those three teams because they're a little bit more complete.
Yeah, I will agree with you on that one. I think the thing is sustainability right now. I think Chargers have a better roster to sustain. But I wouldn't mind going 1A, 1B either way, these two teams. Certainly Tennessee's at the bottom three.
Okay, but only pansies like you go 1A and 1B that straddle the fence and not give a real answer.
Yeah,
this is why you have me on the show to carry you, is so they get an actual real opinion that's worth listening to instead of some pushy-footed thing that doesn't do anything for anybody.
Oh, man.
Oh, my.
That was a pretty big dunk, wasn't it?
It was pretty bad, yeah.
Man down.
All right, let's get the college football real quick. As I said, we're going to be doing this every week now. There's no specific stories on top about. So let's talk about the rankings real quick. We have more upsets this weekend. Penn State lost this weekend in 9 overtimes.
We tried to tell you people about Penn State. We did. All they want to hear it.
You know, everything is sorting itself out at the end of the day. As I said,
well, and that's why the big game this week is also where College Game Day is going to be. Is in Sparty. Is at Michigan State. East Lansing, to see who triumphs over Michigan and Michigan State.
Yeah. So right now, this is what, week 9 or week whatever the hell it is of college football season. What is your playoff for right now? If you were to head a community, you had your list, and this is my 4 teams in order right now.
Okay, so Georgia and Cincy are 2 for now. We're still doing that. Mm-hmm. I still got Bama 3. I still got Michigan 4.
Same as mine.
Yeah, I know. You keep copying my goddamn paper.
Same as mine. I can't at this point.
I'm right. Your eyes, Ernest Christian.
But I will say that the next 2 below, Oklahoma will be 5 and Ohio State
Oklahoma
6.
Would not be 5. You are wrong. You are the wrongest thing I've ever seen. And if you could be any more wrong, you would probably be talking. Actually, no, you're talking about football. You can't be any more wrong than you are because at least you have some knowledge.
Wrong.
Thank you, Dr. Cox.
You're wrong.
You're wrong. You're wrong.
Obviously, you still have Alabama ahead of Oklahoma. What the hell is wrong with you? What are you doing right now? A team that almost lost to Kansas. That's what you just put ahead of Alabama.
No.
Put the pipe down. You're not Washington State.
I have Oklahoma number 5. 5.
Okay. And Alabama's behind them, right?
No.
Oh.
No.
Very good.
Number 3. Number 3, actually.
Yeah. And people could say the same thing about me and Michigan right now. And that's cool. If you like Bama at 4 and Michigan at 5 and Stan, listen, I'm down. But this Saturday will certainly solve for that. So winter may be coming for you.
Michigan State this weekend.
Correct.
It's fun. It should be a fun. Hope it's a night game. It should be a night game. I hope.
No telling.
No, I'm hoping it's after work. I'm hoping it's
scheduled yet.
No, so. I'll tell you right now, actually, because I want to know because I'm.
Hey, how about you keep the flow of the show moving and actually be a host, and I'll look it up. What do you think?
Fuck me. It's noon. It's at noon. Fuck. It's at noon. Anyway. Last thing as you go. Last thing. This is not even football related. But apparently you had an issue with something I said on my podcast yesterday about.
No. Hold on. This is getting way properly unbilled. It's not something that you've said, but you are included in the narrative people who say it. Let's be proper in that.
So
we're not the only one guilty of this crime.
The NBA at 75. NBA 75 year anniversary of the league, and they did the NBA 75 list. Man, I remember the NBA 50 list. I remember I had a VHS tape and all that, and I remember that's a big deal at the time. I was 16 years old. And they did 75. They did 75, and obviously a lot of the talk is about the snubs. Who did make the list?
First of all, one of my favorite rules of yours is these losers talk about these snubs, but they don't say who they should replace.
Right.
But go on.
Well, there's a couple people on that list I thought should probably get taken out. I'm bullish on Anthony Davis personally.
And yeah, he does not have the body of work to be there yet.
I think the injuries alone hurt his case. But again, if Bill Walton's in the 75, then AD by default probably should, because I mean at least when AD is healthy, he is productive, and he has a championship to boot. So,
but I don't know. I think currently I think players currently playing who have been playing less than 15 years should not be included.
But this is the problem, though. The NBA 50 set a standard pretty early. Shaq got on in year 4.
Yeah, and that was ridiculous then, too.
But I think a lot of it, too, also is that the league had already identified that this guy was going to be dominant for a long time. Which, and by the way, he deserves on the list because he even got better as time went on. But
his team stats got better. He still ruined the center position in that, nobody of any size with any skill came along after
fair
because
point.
they thought they could just overpower.
But he was
It was disgusting.
There was a 3-year period where he was the most dominant force I've ever seen play basketball outside Michael Jordan.
Unless he got rejected by Hakeem Olajuwon, sure.
Well, after Olajuwon passed, Olajuwon already retired at this point. So
okay, well, you didn't make that clear. Okay, go
anyway,
ahead.
So I guess the issue right now is a lot of people are waxing poetic about why Dwight Howard didn't make the 75. Now, I said this on the pod yesterday. I am not losing sleep over Dwight Howard not making the list. But if you ask me, should he be on the list, I will lean more for a yes than a no. You said, Explain.
He should be a no, and he should be a flat no.
Okay.
Because it should be held against you that when you are part of the implosion or the decline of a franchise being left in your wake. Okay? What he did to Stan Van in Orlando was disgusting. And since that led to Stan Van's firing in Orlando, them trying to rebuild became sort of a challenge. Only in the past few years, right? DJ Augustine hitting that 3 to win a first-round playoff game against the would-be Toronto Raptors, who would win the conference and I believe the championship that year.
Yeah.
Is really the only bright shining spot for Orlando in the postseason since Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard, sorry. And how many other stops has he had where he's produced basically nothing? Houston?
This is where I'm going to disagree with you on that one. You're
going to talk about him lining up a stat sheet and all this other stuff, but he's not been a central.
It was but the thing was, the Houston issue is that it was a bad fit. And playing with James Harden, it's hard to. Look, Chris Paul couldn't make it work there.
Okay, fine. Let's pretend he has that excuse.
Right.
Talk me out of him in Orlando, man.
Okay, so look, I don't think your argument is unwarranted. The whole thing when the Stan Van thing was stupid as shit. I was on record even back 9 years ago talking about this shit on this podcast when that thing went down. Like, the guy's a moron, a complete moron.
And let me be clear about one thing too. I don't want to straight up say anyone who thinks he belongs is dumb. I'm not saying that, but people are asking, why isn't he on there? My response is, if you were instrumental in the collapse of a franchise, it should be held against you. And I think that's part of it.
Are there any guys on the 75 that also contributed to the demise of their franchises?
I have not I'll be honest, I haven't looked it over yet. But I'm sure you can find somebody.
Right.
Is Kyrie Irving on there? If he is, there's hope.
Well, apparently there's a rumor that he was on there and it was taken out last minute because of the COVID thing, which is fucking stupid as shit.
He never should have been on there.
No, I agree with you on that one. But if you put him on the list, though, leave him on the list. Don't do it because of political reasons.
I agree. If Ty Cobb's allowed to stay in the Hall of Fame for baseball,
let's not do it.
I did baseball talk. This is how disgusting this topic is.
Don't do that. No. It's World Series. Game 1 World Series tonight. By the way, I don't know if you knew that.
The Chiefs and the Braves. Oh, goody.
There was a point for a good 4 or 5 years in this league where Dwight Howard was top 3-4 player in the league. In a league that included LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade at the peak.
I'll see that and raise you this. I'll make this as visceral as hell for you. The local writer, Mike Bianchi here, right, in Orlando, wrote a column about look out, LeBron James. Here comes Dwight Howard, and it's now the single biggest blunder in his opinion in his entire writing career that has spanned decades.
Dwight's fault.
If that doesn't make my point better than anything else, I can't help you.
It's Dwight's fault. Dwight was a mental midget at some point. But I could make a case for it. 3 defensive players a year. 3 deep boys. That's incredible.
Who plays defense in the NBA now?
Well, he was playing defense still at the time.
Right. It's because what was name another dominant center that was a big battle? Him and Dwight Howard. Paul Gasol.
He's a Hall of Famer. Well, shouldn't be.
Right, and he actually beat Dwight Howard in those finals, if I remember correctly.
Well, bear in mind though, he had to do with 2 centers though. Bynum at the time too was pretty dominant as well for that 2-3 years.
Yeah, but when he was healthy.
But I get what you're saying. I get your point. Your point is warranted. Like I said, look, I'm not gonna lose sleep with Dwight not making it 25. I'm not losing sleep about that. There's actually better arguments out there about whether or not Russell Westbrook should be on there. I say yes.
He has to be.
He has to be on there.
I mean,
and honestly,
the averages a triple-double regularly.
Right, and not only that, the best way to do this list is this, because apparently what I found out is that the original 50 that's on the list from 1996 stayed there. They didn't redo the list.
Yeah, no,
which is good, which is great.
Comment too. It's not the top 75. It should be called the next 25.
Right. So the question is this: give me your next. Who are the best? And I'm gonna do a podcast with my boy Zach on this probably in December. Who are the best 25 players in NBA history from 1996 on? Now, obviously, you have to have been drafted around that time. Now, there's certain players that may skate by because Reggie Miller didn't make the original list. He made this one. You know what I'm saying? But Russell Westbrook is easily one of the best 25 players in the last 25 years in this league. Let's stop that noise.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I don't think that's close.
I mean, it's LeBron 1, obviously. LeBron 1,
sure.
Kobe, Duncan or Kobe 2. You pick it, and then go from there.
Kobe, as much as I was not a Kobe guy, Kobe's definitely 2. Put the fundamental in after that because, listen, Tim Duncan had a lot more help than Kobe did. I ain't that stupid. Because, listen, I remember Shearer's Day where he was on Stephen A. Smith's show back when he was in New York, and he said, "Trade me, trade me." This is shortly after he got ousted by the Suns in the first round, right?
Yep.
But nobody wants to talk about that or remember that, and especially now that he's died. Oh my gosh!
Don't tell Kobe fans that they'll get pissy about that shit.
It's just history. Deal with it.
And I love Kobe Bryant, but it's call. I get LeBron shit too. If he fucks up, I'm gonna tell him straight up too. Same thing. Mm-hmm. Call it down the middle. But I'm gonna do a podcast on that probably in the next 2 months. Doing the best 25 players in the last 25 years. That's getting a lot harder than you think because obviously you have KD in there. You're gonna have. What do you put KD? What do you put Dirk? There's a lot because the talent level.
You would count Dirk in that? Yeah, I guess
absolutely. He's top 10. Sure. He's in the top 10.
It's hard to remember.
Easily top 10.
Remember Dirk he played so long. It's hard for me to remember what era he counts.
I think the big part here is taken out. So you would put Shaq in there, but the problem is Shaq is already on the 50. So. Delete if the guy made the 50 already, he doesn't need to be on 75 on the next 25 because he was already in the original 50. So take out Shaq and a couple of guys on that nature on the list. So anyway, that should be a fun pod. Kyle, it was fun. I'll see you tonight. For a second.
I suppose you will if you actually show up, security man.
I will show up tonight. I will. I promise. Plug away as I ding away.
Hey, man, thanks a lot, Ernest Christian, for having me aboard once again. Football is awesome, and it only makes sense you have me to help you make it that much more. Of course, I'm Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter as the SOTG. Find me on Instagram as the same, the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Check out my work on the3pointconversion.com. That's the number 3. My work covering the UCF Knights and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, you could go on their YouTube page as well to see mine and the stylings of so many others. Definitely much more consistent than whatever EJ is doing with the soundboard back there.
Well, I said because of the Jaguars. Just saying.
Listen, man. I mean, they actually are still fresh off of their win.
That's true.
They had a bye week this week, and hey,
they didn't lose. There you go.
Yeah, funny story, by the way. This point in the year, Trevor Lawrence is actually outpacing Peyton Manning as a rookie just in passing, and then you add his stats on the ground.
Let's also realize that Peyton Manning wasn't that good in his rookie year. Let's slow down.
No, he wasn't. But for people who want to declare the Jacksonville Jaguars this horrible story, I'm like, listen, folks, y'all need to be looking out. Because they've got a great receiver core. They've got Trevor Lawrence, who's rapidly improving. Their defense isn't stellar, but it's in that middle of the league range where you want them to be. And they have Shaquille Griffin as a captain of that secondary. He's the right personality to try to keep them, going through a rebuilding year and building into a much better squad next year. And listen, it's no surprise that Shaquille Griffin is helpful in this capacity, because this is the same guy who was a member of the 2015 team that lost all their games and then was part of the squad and left just before the 2017 year, where they were the national champions, according to the Calling Matrix. No, they didn't claim it. That happened. Stop it.
Okay.
And that's not like people are like, you're just a fan. No, I cover the team. Trust me. If I was a fan, it would not be UCF as my first choice of franchises that I would pick in the college ranks. I just went there. Yeah. But
By the way, I just realized I have my wrestling podcast background on my earnestly speaking podcast background on. Oh well, continue.
I thought you were just advertising. I just put your backdrop in a perpetual state of bing. That's all I thought.
I agree with you on that one.
But anyways, so long with the short, this guy is uniquely qualified to work with the psyche of this group, to have them actually be something in a division that's overrated as hell. And Derrick Henry is just another year with tread off the tires as a running back in the NFL. What more can we say? Anyway.
You're welcome.
Of course, catch my work with Hilarity by Default on YouTube with my friend Demosthenes Euclid. We are recording tonight one of my favorite comedies. And I'm not sure when that show will air, but allegedly it'll be close to Thanksgiving. However, there'll be some new hotness dropping sometime this week, so look out for that.
What is it on? Which comedy is it? Is it a movie or is it
I believe it was Bell Book and Candle, another Halloween special.
Okay.
We did there.
Okay.
So, get some of that classic fare with Jimmy Stewart and Cary Grant that you like to, that Demos enjoys so well, to make sure you get some damn culture in your life, people. Okay, we don't do the Fast and the Furious on this show. Anyway,
I don't blame you. I only saw the first two, by the way. I haven't seen the other 7.
Why do you talk, Patriots fan?
Is it that good? Is it that good?
What?
The Fast and Furious franchise?
I don't know. I'm not seeing that trash.
Oh, so what the fuck? Why give me shit for? I saw the first 2 movies back in 2001.
Yes, you went at all. Thus, you deserve the ish in question. Shall we move on?
Come on. I mean, is that bad, big a deal?
No, you're really making it too easy to dunk on you is the problem. Like you're Duckworth and I'm Shaq. Okay?
Yeah, whatever.
Oh, wow, Mr. Sarcasm, yeah. I don't care.
Anyway.
there's a 90s basketball reference for you.
Yep.
Anyways.
I kind of miss talking pop culture with you on the show, too. We gotta get back to that after football's over.
But then, of course, my friend Demosthenes Euclid with Hilarity by Default. And check out my work as well with the Captain and Company Morning Show on A7 with A7BN Sports and oldschool101.com. My friend Captain Chris Hill presiding, of course, with all that. So until next time, everybody, of course, I am Kyle Student Game. Till the next report, where I remind you that football is awesome along with Ernest Christian. Class dismissed.
Which, by the way, you can find also on the podcast. We drop a Wednesday Football is Awesome on our podcast feed. But
the YouTube. Yes.
But this actual segment will be segued by itself on my YouTube page at Ernest EJ Christian on YouTube, the Student Game Report playlist on my playlist section. So
I'm going to call you Ernest the Orange.
Ernest the Orange.
Julius.
Just Julius. Oh, shut up. So stupid. So stupid.
All right. It's EJ versus Degenerate. Week number 8 now? Week number 8.
Yeah, week 8.
And
managed to tie it up or get a tied week. So
yeah, we tied this week. Both got 6 wins each.
You're doing better.
Yeah, well, you still got 3-2 lead, so I mean, it is what it is. The battle for Flanagan's rages on. I don't know. Let's get started to this game, man, because this is not a really pretty schedule, to be honest with you. The first game out the gate is supposed to be the best game of the week, but it is literally a COVID outbreak now on the Green Bay side. Green Bay heading to Arizona to face the Cardinals. The Cardinals right now are 6.5-point favorites, and this line ballooned because of the announcement that Devontae Adams has COVID. The backup Lazar, or whatever his name is, the third string receiver for Green Bay has COVID as well too. He'll be out as well. So a great game with a lot of potential NFC Championship. Possibility of this being a title game. Yeah, this dampened a little bit now. I like Arizona here. I mean, they're on the wall.
I feel like Vegas is trying to play it a little safe, and maybe they'll get some good news on the COVID side, because by game time Thursday night, you got to figure it's 7.5.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's got to be buying Arizona. And if this is one of those times where you're supposed to beat the good team when they're down. You can't blow a game like this.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Arizona's 7-0. And they just continue.
Who would have thought that? Jesus.
Now, look, I had them making the playoffs this year. I didn't see this shit coming.
No.
So.
And how's your prediction for all 4 teams making it to the playoffs now?
Well, hey, look, Russell Wilson, he's MVP right now by not even be on the field. Just saying.
Can we talk about how bad Geno Hayes is?
If
not for one busted tackle of DK Metcalf to start the first drive of the game for them, he wouldn't have thrown for 50 total yards.
And yet we have people trying to make cases for trading Wilson to another team for draft picks, even though draft picks are worth a shit. If you have a top 5 quarterback in the league, appreciate it while you have it.
Absolutely.
Saying. Anyway, next game here on Sunday. We have the Carolina Panthers heading to Atlanta to face the Falcons. The Falcons now, all of a sudden, 3-3. They are 2.5-point favorites. Over-under is 46 points. Atlanta has some unimpressive wins, but it is what it is. You don't get to pick the schedule. It's just made for you. They've played better slowly. I mean, look, they're not very talented and whatnot, across the board, but you got Matt Ryan, who's still serviceable. Kyle Pitts has broke out against Miami this weekend.
His last 2 games.
Yeah. Carolina's falling apart at the seams. I mean, they lost by Giants, dude, and they got blown out. Just saying. I think this is easy. Atlanta cover. Let's go. This is like a steal, I think. I feel like it's a steal.
Absolutely. And it's crazy. 3 weeks ago, everyone was praising Sam Darnold. Now they're talking about him getting traded out
Right.
mid-season for possibly Russell Wilson. But holy hell, has a team fallen off the cliff? And yeah, this is easy money. Take Atlanta, because Kyle Pitts is looking dominant right now.
Right. He's looking like the guy I wanted the Dolphins to draft in the first round. All right, next game here we have the Miami Dolphins heading to Buffalo to face the Bills. The Bills are 13.5-point favorites. The over-under is 49.5. Call me crazy. I think Miami is competitive here. Divisional games, weird. They're not getting blown out every week. They're just losing. They're just finding a way to lose games, like the Atlanta game, the Jaguars game, and all that. I can see them competitive in this game. I think. Look, they'll lose the game, but I can see them lose by 10. By 10. Miami in the 20.
What was the over-under again?
Over-under is 49.5.
49.5.
Yeah.
See, you can see it be competitive. I can see it being a blowout again. If the Dolphins get down at halftime, I feel like it's going to be a beatdown on the Bills' part. After they just watched the Patriots put up 54 on the Jets, they're going to want to put up a 50 burger. So I'll take the Bills to cover.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, then again, you get Dolphins too, so that makes sense. That fits your narrative. Okay.
But I root for Tua.
I do too. I mean, but I feel like they're going to trade him at some point.
That'd be a shame.
Yeah. Anyway, next game here, the San Francisco 49ers and Chicago to face the Bears. The Niners are 3.5-point favorites actually here. Over under 39.5. Niners are falling apart themselves too. Bears are kind of like, in Neverland, whatever you call it. It's just, who are they? Got blown up by Tampa this week. I kind of like the over here though.
What is that, 39.5 you said?
Yeah, I like the over. I can see a 23-20 game. I can see 21-20. Something of that nature.
I could also see a 10-3 game.
That's true.
That's how bad that is.
You taking the under?
No, I'm going to take the 49ers to cover because I got a feeling Trey Lance is going to see the football field a little more this week.
I didn't watch the entire game on Sunday night. Was Garoppolo that bad? Or was this one of those things where, like, it's hit or miss?
It was hit or miss, and he was playing a little scared, but he was nowhere near as bad as what we saw on Monday night.
Oh, okay.
Not from either team. It was just, oh my gosh.
It's Jameis? Oh, yeah. The classic.
Jameis was... Okay. When he was in Tampa, he'd throw 50-yard bombs, like every other play.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to throw 5 yards down the field anymore.
I don't know, man. Yeah.
He doesn't fit that system.
We'll get some in a second because Russell Wilson, again, is making the case for MVP. But not even playing. Next game here. This is an interesting game here. AFC North battle between the Pittsburgh Steelers heading to Cleveland to face the Browns. The banged-up Browns are 4-point favorites. The over-under is 42.5. Steelers were on a bye last week, right? I believe.
Yeah.
So it helps them here a little bit. Browns are not healthy. Is Baker Mayfield even playing this game? Do we know?
As far as I know, Baker's out.
Okay. Give me under to be safe.
I want to take Pittsburgh.
I don't mind it because that would be my other option.
I feel like Pittsburgh's coming up a little. They've won 2 out of their last 3 games.
Yeah, they're 3-3. 3-3.
Maybe they're feeling themselves, got a little pride again. So they're seeing this as their one chance to move up in the division right now.
Absolutely.
I don't see anybody catching Cincinnati at this point.
Oh, you think Cincinnati?
Even before Baker got hurt, the Browns weren't playing well enough to where they would be competing with Cincinnati for the division.
Oh, okay.
And with Baltimore, every week they lose a guy. You saw what happened as soon as they lost their left tackle for the season in the Staley. So I'll take Pittsburgh.
I'm gonna say it again. If the Ravens make the playoffs or you win the division, the MVP's right there in number 8. Baltimore. Just saying.
Yep.
All right. Your next game here, we have the Philadelphia 76ers. Philadelphia Eagles heading to Detroit to face the Lions, the winless Lions rather. The Eagles are 3.5-point favorites. The over/under is 48 points. Call me crazy. Detroit does it. I think this is the week Detroit does it. They do it.
Yeah.
First game.
Absolutely. I mean, they're pulling out all the stops right now. That is not a coach who wants to lose, even though he doesn't know how to coach.
But, Man Campbell?
Oh, yeah. We're going to bite him at their knees. That shows you how bad he is.
He's so fucking 1950s.
So, I think Jared Goff gets a win.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. The Eagles are kind of falling apart themselves too. They were competitive for a little while, but after what I saw last week against Las Vegas, I think they checked out.
Don't be saying that Vegas is a good team.
Right, but I thought that was a game the Eagles could have stolen. I mean, look at the spread. They had the Eagles as a 3-point dog on the road. I mean,
I think Derek Carr is going to play so much better going forward this season.
I think Gruden was a problem. Honestly, I think Gruden was the
at least for him.
Yeah. I agree with him on that one. I've been saying that for a couple of years now that because Gruden wanted to trade him and he was on the fence on Carr. Yeah, Gruden. You talk about Dan Campbell being dated. John Gruden's dated.
And when he took that job, he praised him. He was like, he's a former possible MVP. So to go through all that.
Yeah.
I think they're a good team now.
Right. All right, next game here. This probably could be the game of the week other than the first one. Tennessee Titans heading to Indianapolis face the Colts. The Titans right now are 1.5 point favorites. Over-under 51.5. I was thinking a week ago, Tennessee, didn't trust them. Still kind of trust them, to be honest, even though they beat Buffalo, KC back-to-back weeks. Didn't think to pull away like this in the North, given what we've seen all year long. I thought Indy's only way to get into the playoffs was win the division. But I'll tell you what, with the way the rest of the AFC is looking right now and the way they're playing, this is the opportunity. If they win this game, again, they did it. Remember saying last week against the Niners how that was a sneaky important game, and the winner of that game, loser of that game is kind of lose town, and the Colts have been vaulted now into the playoff picture. Carson Wentz is playing good football. I know Tennessee won the first meeting. I love Indy here, to be honest with you. I can see a lot down here for Tennessee, and I think Indy's surging now at this point and playing good football. I mean, honestly, they've been playing good football, even with some of the losses they had in recent weeks. They lost to Baltimore, they should have won. They could be easy 4-3 right now.
Oh, yeah. They could be. Or, I mean, they could be 2-5, 1-6. But yeah. I don't see there being a letdown for a Tennessee team that is so heavily dependent on Derrick Henry, and if there's a guy chasing MVP or the record books, it's Derrick Henry. And you won't see any game as a letdown. So, hell, their defensive line even showed up this past weekend. So maybe they build off of that with confidence again. So I like Tennessee to cover.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no difference between you and I there. We'll see how that plays out. All right, next game here we have the Tennessee Titans heading to – no, sorry, that's the wrong one. Cincinnati Bengals heading to New York to face the Jets. The Bengals over-under is 43. The Red Hot Bengals, my God. My God. They made the rankings 2 weeks in a row now. Gotta post it later today when I got this call.
That is the greatest duo.
Sorry, son's in the room. Go ahead.
No, I mean, what you're saying right now, that's the best duo in the NFL with Chase. And hell, I say Jamar Chase probably covers the spread alone against the Jets. I'm not a fan of some of these garbage backup quarterbacks getting $6-7 million a year just to be the backup. But the Jets had a backup quarterback who had never played in the NFL.
Was it Mike White? What his name is?
Yeah, 4 years in the league, never started once. You can't do that to a young kid that you're bringing in. You need him to at least see some sort of veteran presence. Everything that the Jets are doing, they should just stop right now, do the complete opposite if they want to save that franchise, because it's terrible.
I was kind of on the fence about whether to take Bengals to cover this game, but I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing too, take the Bengals to cover, because the Jets is bad. This is really bad. And Zach Wilson doesn't play this week, obviously. It's...
I could see Cincy putting 50 up.
Yeah. And they've already proven that they've beaten bad teams in the way you're supposed to in Detroit, so they've proven that point too. Don't let up on that one. Okay, next game here we have the LA Rams and the Houston face the Texans. The Rams are 14.5-point favorites. The over-under is 47.5. Now, last week they were 17-point favorite against Detroit. Some 15 didn't cover. I think they covered this week.
Oh, yeah.
In Houston. Houston's terrible. The worst team in football, in my opinion.
Plus, there's less pressure for all the talk that Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey saw Jared Goff in practice, and they were going to shut him down. Didn't happen. Did not happen. So now they're playing a little freer pressure, and they're going to want to show out. And so, yeah, I'll take the Rams to cover as well.
Yeah, this should be a pretty disastrous game here for Houston. Another, you forget they had a win. You forget they won a game this year.
Freaking Jacksonville. Not all of us forget. Not the game that cost you money.
Yes, right. I remember that. All right, next one here. This should be an interesting game here. The New England Patriots heading to L.A. to face the Chargers. The Chargers right now are 5.5-point favorites. Over-under is 49 points. Chargers off the bye. I don't know. This is like a Belichick Just like a Belichick sleeper here. I'll take the under in this game, though. I'm not going to take the Pats to win, but I can see the Pats winning. I won't pick it, but I can see it happening. But give me the under in this game. I think the defense will actually show up for this one.
Do you know who the Pats have beat so far this season?
Well, they beat the Jets. They beat
the Jets.
Just twice.
They beat one other team. They are 1-4 against the rest of the league, minus the worst team in football.
You can make an argument though. They should have beaten Dallas. They should have beaten Tampa. And there's another game. Oh, Miami. That's 3 games they should have won. They won that one.
Did I hear shoulda, coulda, woulda?
I'm just saying.
Different times.
Miami game by fumble. Tampa on a doink. And Dallas went to OT. Just saying. And it's not like they're not playing decent football.
All right. Well, I'll take the Chargers to cover.
Wow. Well, you also have a hard on the Chargers this year anyway, so whatever. Under in this one. Next one. Jacksonville Jaguars heading to Seattle face the Seahawks. What a snoozer this was going to be. Seahawks are 3-point favorites. Over under 43.5. Give me the over in this one.
Give you the over.
I think the
again, as we talked earlier, did you see how bad Geno Smith was?
I can see pick sixes. I can see fumble six. I can see a lot of shit happening here.
Give me Jacksonville over and over again. All right, this is where they just beat the crap out of a team. Trevor Lawrence is going to slaughter that defense. Because you know what Trevor Lawrence does? He throws more than 5 yards down a football field.
All right, next one here. Your Washington football team heading to Denver to face the Broncos. Broncos are 3-point favorites. Over under is 43 points. Yeah. Something's got to give here. Beat Denver. Get Denver finds a way to win this game.
Take the Redskins, man.
The who?
Take Washington. Take the football team.
Yeah, you're a football team.
Right. Yeah, we lost our quarterback first quarter of the game to start the season. All right, my prediction went down the drain that quickly.
Yeah, he's not playing terrible though. He has a couple of decent games here and there.
Yeah. Hey, when you're going towards the goal line for a touchdown, you dive across it. You do not dive to be parallel with it.
What a game! And I had you guys on the points this week too, for the record. They cost me a little bit. Probably won the week if they were covered. But oh well. You had Green Bay in that game. All right, next one here. 3 more games to go. Interesting game here. Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to New Orleans to face the New Orleans Saints. Divisional rivalry here. The Bucs are 5-point favorites. Over under 50 points. Saints won the New Orleans Saints. It's not pretty, but they are 4-2. They are 4-2. Somehow, some way, they are 4-2.
You know the one game Jameis had a great game in? I bet against him. That is the only time he had a good. Yes.
It wasn't a great game. It was a short. He had a short field.
Yeah. 4 touchdowns. You couldn't just airmail it like you did, or you threw it short like you did last night.
Yeah.
Come on. Got to be the game I bet against you. But he is not allowed to throw the football. Tampa is going to crush them.
Oh, God.
Give me Tampa, please.
Give me the over in this game. I'm going to take the over in this game.
Yeah, because Jameis is going to show up for 3 points the way he's playing.
He might break out. It's a little swag this week. Bucs defense is still kind of.
Unless they let Alvin Kamara run 20 yards down the football field before they throw it to him, Saints got no chance.
Yeah, I have the over in this game. All right, next one. 2 more games to go.
Dallas Cowboys heading to Minnesota.
The Vikings. Huge game here. Cowboys are 29-point favorites off a bye. Over under is 54.5. Call me crazy? I like Minnesota here. I do. I know it's Kirk on primetime. But I feel like Minnesota is starting to sort of put together. If Dallas wins this game, I'm a believer.
Don't.
Because because this game is
what time is this game being played again?
I said 8:30. It's a Sunday game.
8:30. And if I were to ask you who the defensive player of the year is right now in the NFL,
You mean Diggs? You mean the guy that got burned in the same thing after he picked 6 against the Patriots? Yeah, that guy. Yeah, sure.
What happened in the end? See, had he not got burnt because he was pilling himself, that would have been a blowout. But anyways, who's he going to cover? Jefferson. So that takes away your number one. So you're back to only throwing to Thielen. How do you pronounce his name?
Thielen.
Thielen.
Oh, what a feeling. Oh, what a Thielen. That's on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Name the artist. Who sang that song?
Oh, God knows. I could never do that.
Oh, come on. You're the same fucking age. How you not know this name? Who sings this damn song? Lionel Richie, dude.
I'll tell you how. You know what I do? I listen to sports radio, or I don't listen to anything really in my car.
84, Zach. How do you not know that song?
Because it was 84. I was playing outside. I'm sorry.
Who was I? I know who Lionel Richie was in 1984.
I didn't know who Lionel Richie was until I was a teenager.
Dude, you were in culture as a kid. That's probably why. You had a little soul back then, bro.
Man, my mom was listening to 60s rock. That's all I listened to.
That's their problem. There's we just now discovered the issue. Not as an issue. I love 60s, 70s rock, but I'm just saying.
Hey, that's what I grew up listening to.
I get it.
In the car with my parents, and then by the time I was listening to music of my choice, it was grunge or rap.
Yeah. You rebellious child, you. I like Minnesota here, buddy. I like Minnesota. I mean, I'm. Let's see if Dallas can prove me wrong here, because in the last 10 years, this is the type of game that Dallas was playing well. They would finally lose this game. So if they find a way to win this game also too on the road, ooh-wee.
All I know is I'm gonna have to spend another week of listening to Skyler go, "Hey, you see how great Dallas is? Did you see him beat Minnesota? Minnesota's a good team." No, they're not, because you know what time it was? It was 8:30 at night on prime time. Kirk Cousins is gonna have 2 to 3 picks.
Scott's our coworker for the record, guys. Anybody knows who he is. Good dude. But I told him to pipe down the Cowboys love, because because what you're doing there is setting yourself up for failure. Stop.
Well, I mean, once you beat them, look how bad their record is. Right? They're an exciting team, yes, but this is not a good matchup for the Vikings.
Okay, fair enough. So you like Dallas to cover this game? Went out right?
Yeah, I'll take Dallas to cover.
See again, what was the spread? 2.5 points for Dallas. They covered the spread. Okay, I got Minnesota to win out right. Okay, and finally the game, not the game of the week, but obviously the Monday night game, of course, the New York Giants, my Giants, heading to Kansas City to face the struggling DEFCON 1 Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs are 10-point favorites. The over-under is 52.5. Giants with their second win of the year over Carolina. But that's going to be short-lived because KC's desperate. They need to win, and they will do this, and they will cover 10 points on Monday Night Football because the Chiefs are, at least for 1 week, will be that good, and the Giants don't really that bad.
Do you think Pat Mahomes had a concussion?
Yeah, I don't see why would he lie about that.
Okay. Well, I mean, he looked like he was knocked into another universe for a second.
But he cleared it, though, on Sunday, the same night. So.
Oh, he did? Okay.
Cleared it, yes. So he'll be able to play.
I didn't hear that, so.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Honestly, it's the Giants, and the way you're going this season, I might keep Patrick Mahomes out.
You think Shanahan can beat the Giants by himself?
Yeah. Do you still have Travis Kelce? Do you still have Tyreek Hill? Yeah. I think they could still beat your Giants. Everybody on your team is going to be out again. What are you going to have?
Well, I heard they called LT for a comeback, and I hope they call Carl Banks and a couple of even Eli was on the horn, but just in case Jones gets hurt again.
I was thinking maybe call David Tyree, Plexico Burrows.
It works.
You need some wide receivers right now.
I mean, all hands in, buddy. Right? Let's go. That being said, I like the Chiefs to win this game. They're desperate. I mean, look at the schedule going forward. Without context, a tough schedule. ahead. So
Yeah.
just 2 Raiders.
with you. I like the Chiefs to cover.
So there you go. See, there you go. All right, finally, before we get going, one quick FSU minute. They won 3 in a row. Oh my God.
3 in a row, man. We even were able to let the backup come in and get a few snaps. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And Clemson, holy hell. We're going to beat Clemson.
I'm hearing all that now. They lost to fucking
they lost to Pittsburgh
last week.
I mean, they got manhandled. They lost by like 10, I think.
I mean, if they beat Clemson this week, now we're talking about bowls again.
Oh, I know. 4-4. Holy hell. We're talking about 2 things. We're talking about bowls for Florida State and no bowl for freaking Clemson. There was just too much love for Dabu.
They're not going to be this bad. I mean, they're only 4-3. So
they're going to be 4-4 after this week.
I pray that as well. I pray that is the case. Should be a decent game. That's in Clemson, right?
Yeah.
That'd make it even sweeter if we beat them in Clemson. You know, because I remember a day when Clemson used to suck.
Oh, so do I. And it was like that for a very long time.
Until like the mid.
And then they got Deshaun Watson.
Maybe before that they would.
And then they had Trevor Lawrence. Oh, they weren't that special. What was it? Taj Boyd was their quarterback or something?
They were always on top of the ACC though. Let me see real quick. The spread in this game actually is only 10.5 points. It opened 11.5, went down a point already. I think it's the money for Noel's money coming in. This is also going to be a 3:30 game. We'll see what happens with that one. I don't know. I'm feeling good about this game. I want to get ahead of myself, but I'm feeling good about this game.
I'm saying we're going to win, man.
So, anyway, Zach, good luck for you this week, and we'll see you next week. And I guess that's it.